Throughout history, video games have faced censorship for reasons ranging from too much violence to too much sex, although occasionally, alongside these more common types of alteration, are other forms of censorship to much more unusual aspects of the game. Today we'll be discussing examples of gender censorship, that is, games where the taboo nature surrounding certain characters' true genders cause them to have their gender changed when released outside of Japan. One of the earliest examples of this is Berto from Super Mario Bros. 2, and then many later games in the Mario franchise. When Super Mario Bros. 2 was first released in 1988, the game's English instruction manual describes Berto with the line, "He thinks he is a girl and spits eggs from his mouth. He'd rather be called Berdetta." In Japan, their description was similar, except they are named Catherine and would rather be named Kathy. Like in English versions, they are also portrayed as male who thinks they are a female. However, this transgender identity would later be scrubbed out by Nintendo of America. You see, later copies of Super Mario Bros. 2 had the instruction manual changed to remove the description's final statement. It's only in first print copies where the English version describes Berto as wanting to be called Berdetta. In Japan though, no changes were made. Up next is another example from the Mario franchise, Vivian from Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Vivian is another transgender character, but this is something that can only be found in the original Japanese version. In Japan, they are often ridiculed by their sisters for being a boy, yet continually trying to pass themselves off as a female. Despite being born in a male body, Vivian thinks of themselves as a female, but their sisters won't accept this and make fun of them about it. All of this was removed from the English versions of the game, and rather than insulting their gender, the sisters will instead call them things like ugly. Interestingly though, certain European regions such as France chose not to change this, and Vivian remains a female born in a male body, much to the dismay of their sisters. Our next game will be Shenmue 2, originally released for the Dreamcast in 2001 and then for the Xbox the following year. Within the game is the reoccurring character Yuan, who looks, sounds and acts very feminine, but is in fact a male. Furthermore, Yuan is not only Do Neo's right-hand man, but also his lover. Outside of Japan though, this aspect of Yuan was completely removed and they had their true gender changed from male to female. Whilst the Western Dreamcast version was not dubbed in English, Sega still decided it was necessary to re-record Yuan's Japanese lines so that they are spoken by a female actress, rather than the Japanese version's male voice. Additionally, for the Xbox version, which was dubbed in English, Yuan is again voiced by a female actress instead. You guys, get over here! As revealed in a 2015 podcast with Yuan's English voice actress Lyle Wilkerson, Yuan is still a transvestite in the English version of Shenmue 2, but Sega wanted the voice to be as ambiguous as possible, to not anger Western fans. They actually had a hard time deciding whether to make him a female voice or a male voice like the original version. However, fast forwarding things back to the present, and Sega no longer considers Yuan's gender an issue. As you can see on the official website for the upcoming Shenmue 3, Yuan is referred to as a male, just like the original Japanese version. And to finish up for today, we'll be discussing Poison from the Final Fight and Street Fighter series. Poison originally appeared in Final Fight, Capcom's classic beat-em-up first released in arcades back in 1989. During development, Poison was planned to be a regular female, but the developers would then become concerned over the idea that hitting women would be considered rude, as well as the possibility that feminist groups in America would sue them. This led to them turning Poison into a transsexual female instead, believing this may help to ease a potential issue. However, for Nintendo's SNES port, even further steps were taken. Here, Poison is changed to a fully fledged male named Billy, and this change was not made in the Japanese version. In later games, Poison's gender has always remained somewhat shrouded in mystery. Street Fighter producer Yoshinori Ono once spoke about the matter and had this to say, "Let's set the record straight. In North America, Poison is officially a post-op transsexual, but in Japan she simply tucks her business away to look female." However, later comments from the producer have contradicted this statement, with Ono also describing them as definite post-op in all regions. Whatever the case, Poison's gender remains a popular debate amongst fans. But that's all the time we have for today. Be sure to subscribe to Censored Gaming for more videos on video game censorship, and thank you for watching.